Did you know that August is National Make-A-Will Month? Well, each year, many individuals are faced with the task of creating a will, yet many might find themselves putting off the important task. And not only do wills ensure your money and assets go where you want, but they can also alleviate some family members from stressing over what to do with your finances. Our financial expert, Ernest Burley, from Burley Insurance and Financial Services, is here to talk about beneficiaries, wills, and what you need to know. Ernest, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And now, this is a very difficult conversation to have because you're talking about death and wills and all those things, but it is important to talk about.
Yes.
So how old do you actually have to be to make a will?
Well, you can't be a minor, so a minor can't enter into any type of contract or sign a contract. So as long as you're 18 or older, you should be able to get a will done for you.
And tell me about that process of actually making a will. Like, if I were to make one today, where do I go and how do I do it?
Yeah, I would recommend speaking with an attorney. I like to stay in my lane, so that lane is an attorney. That person would advise you as to what type of will. I should say what type of trust, because wills are pretty basic, but they can give you better advice based on your assets, what your intentions are, and things of that nature as to what direction you should go.
And then what about handwritten wills? Are those legitimate? How would you write it? Would you, tell someone to do that or no?
You're asking me these legal questions. I'm not an attorney, but a handwritten will is a legal document. As long as you signed it and you have two witnesses, that's a legal document. So I wouldn't recommend that, but yes, if it's handwritten and witnessed by two people, then yes, it's legal.
Gotcha. And what exactly is a beneficiary?
A beneficiary is a person who, or an entity that benefits from something. It's normally used in terms with life insurance, IRAs, retirement plans, things of that nature, for a person who receives proceeds from one of those plans. So they're a beneficiary because they benefit from the proceeds from those plans. So that's what a beneficiary is normally used as far as that term is concerned.
And then what's particularly important to know about beneficiaries?
Well, to keep them updated because, life goes on. Sometimes people get divorced, they get remarried, and they forget to change the beneficiary, say, on their life insurance policy. Something unfortunate happens, and that person passes away. Guess who's getting that money? The former spouse. Mm-hmm. That's going to be an awkward moment.
Yeah, definitely. What exactly is the purpose of a will?
Well, the purpose of the will is to distribute your assets based on your will. Based on your will, your intention, your desires. So that is the purpose of it, to say, hey, this is how I want my assets to be distributed, and you put it in a legal document, an actual written document.
And how would you recommend distributing financial assets and things like that if not a will?
Yes, I don't recommend trying to distribute that in a will. Like, a will is more so for like property, if you own a business, things of that nature. But if it's a financial account, like a bank account, I would recommend a POD. We talked about this on a previous session. POD stands for payable on death. So basically you can name beneficiaries on your bank accounts. If it's an investment account, a TOD stands for transfer on death. Same thing. You name beneficiaries because you want to avoid probate at all costs. So that's a way to get your assets out of probate and directly to the individuals you want to receive the money.
And tell me, what exactly does probate mean? What is that?
Probate is the legal process of distributing your assets, basically. So that's the legal process. It's called probate.
Gotcha. A will, does it escape probate since a person's desires are outlined?
Well, no. So that is the legal process to distribute your assets. The will goes through the probate process. So that's the way to say, okay, well, this person has an actual legitimate will. You need to go through the court system, the legal process to prove that will. Okay, this is a legal will, and then get to distributing the assets throughout that legal process.
And then what if a person does not have a will? What do what would you tell them, and how should they go about doing a will?
Well, a person who is called dying intestate. If you don't have a will, it's called intestate. And if that happens, then the state has laws. Each state has its own laws to figure out, okay, we're going to distribute your assets based on the way we have our laws configured. And that's not ideal. You want your assets to be distributed the way you want them to be distributed, not the way some laws are distributed, laws are configured in your state. So let's not do that.
Yeah. And then how often should a person update their will?
Well, if a major event happens, if you don't need to update it if nothing happens, right? If everything stays the same, but things change, you get married, you get remarried, you have children. So when major events, some people call them life events, when those things happen, then you might want to revisit that will.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Ernest, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And individuals should contact their own financial professionals and attorneys to help answer questions about specific situations or needs before taking any action based on this information.